Hello there, my name is David, I run the channel Basically Star Wars, and I love The Last Jedi. However, I by no means always felt this way. I walked out of the movie theater in December of 2017 being very disappointed by it, but I pretended to love it. For a while I was pretty indifferent about it, then I went to hating it, and now I can confidently say I love this movie. So in this video, I'm simply going to tell you why I love this very controversial movie. This isn't going to be a big deep dive of the entire film, or an in defense of The Last Jedi video where if you disagree you end up feeling bad. But in the next 14 minutes or so, I will try my best to explain the things I don't like about this movie and all of the things I love. So without further ado, let's get into why I love The Last Jedi. But first, let's break down everything wrong with it. This movie is nowhere near flawless. Nowhere. And I constantly have to remind myself about that. While I realize this, and I am going to be going over all of the stuff that I have problems with, I'm still not going to be regurgitating some of the most popular complaints. While I agree that Finn's character was totally sidelined and Rose is annoying, you don't need to hear me repeat them. I will talk about Canto Bight for a bit because that's what I have the most issue with. For me, I don't even hate it that much, but there are plenty of valid criticisms of this subplot, such as the excess of camp and bad writing.
I wish I could put my fist through this whole lousy, beautiful town.
Plus, if you are already lukewarm on this movie and don't really care for these parts of the movie, and you feel like the way they treated Luke was character assassination, this subplot is the cherry on top for why you don't like it, and that's honestly totally fair. The messaging is very sappy and not subtle at all. All Star Wars has camp, but this is just something else. However, for me, it's not even the camp or the heavy-handed dialogue, even though I totally acknowledge it. What bugs me is that this subplot ruined Johnson's the pacing. The movie literally goes from,
You have that look in your eyes from the forest. And you called me a monster.
You are a monster.
Yes, I am.
10 seconds later.
Plus, a constant theme of the sequels is very poor world building and lazy planets, and Canto Bight is literally Earth. I mean, the reason Rose and Finn end up in jail is because of a parking violation.
Yep, those are the shuttle parkers.
Also, moments like Luke throwing a lightsaber behind his back and Holdo being way too stubborn bug me as well, but Canto Bight and these issues I have with Canto Bight are by far my biggest problems with The Last Jedi. Also, the comedy can be hit or miss. There are some moments that I absolutely love, and some moments not so much.
Supremely.
Now let's get into everything that I adore about this movie. First off, this is just my movie. You know that show or movie that brings you so much joy and comfort every time you watch it? Last Jedi is that movie for me. I acknowledge the flaws, I literally just did, and I agree that maybe this movie should have never been made, because of course I do love it, but Ryan's creative freedom kind of sent this entire trilogy off the rails. But there's just something so special about this movie for me. I mean, visually, it looks like God directed it, and I mean, I guess he kind of did. But there's so many small moments that just make me smile, like this, 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 and this.
Finn! Rose, you're not dead! Where's my droid? I'm so glad to see you!
But the two big categories that make me love this movie as much as I do are the characters and what this movie has to say, so the themes. First, let's get into the characters. These three characters are amazing and honestly carry the movie.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I'm afraid.
Rey. She is vulnerable, lost, confused, tempted by the dark side, and desperate to find her parents, or really anyone she can call family. As we see in The Force Awakens, she wants more than anything to be reunited with her parents, and we the audience are convinced that she's going to be related to someone famous in the Star Wars universe because that's what we're used to. Because she has been alone for so long, she doesn't know how to deal with her new powers. Luke is too afraid to teach her, so she turns to
It's time to let old things die.
Ben. This pair of characters is absolutely legendary. Like I said, Rey has a pull to the dark side, and Kylo is broken after killing his father and is desperately trying to stay in the dark. They bounce off each other really well, and the culmination of this pair's interaction being the throne room scene is pure Star Wars magic. First, we have to talk about Snoke's death, and in my opinion, this is one of the most bold and brilliant choices they could have made. If Snoke was revealed to be Plagueis or something like that, that would only be cool to us, the audience, and maybe Kylo, but it's not like that reveal is going to diminish his hatred for him. While audience satisfaction and enjoyment is of course important, when it comes to decisions and reveals, it's important to make sure they affect the characters and the story, not just make the audience go. Snoke is what was holding back and tormenting Kylo, and in a pure moment of Star Wars joy, he breaks free of his chains and becomes his own character and villain in the coolest way. And then we get to
Sold you off for drinking money.
the reveal. The reveal of Rey's parents initially did not work for me, however, surprise surprise, I have come to adore and thoroughly appreciate this moment. Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, who's the child of Han Solo and Leia Skywalker, reaches out a hand and basically says, dynasties don't matter. This is so much more special and carries so much more weight than whatever we got in episode 9. Alright, let's get into it.
At the height of their powers, they allowed Darth Sidious to rise, create the Empire, and wipe them out. It was a Jedi Master who was responsible for the training and creation of Darth Vader.
Luke. Talking about Luke in The Last Jedi could easily be a 20-minute video just by itself. This is the thing in the movie that takes people from maybe not liking it to just absolutely hating it. Given this topic is already very talked about and controversial, I'm going to keep this section very condensed and straightforward. The scene that everybody goes for is when Luke tries to kill his nephew while he's sleeping. First off, no, Luke was not going in there to kill Ben. He was going in there to read his mind, which is sure an invasion of privacy, but not attempted murder. And as Luke says himself,
It passed like a fleeting shadow.
one moment of weakness does not ruin a character. And this is not some out-of-the-blue incident. Luke truly believes that the balance of the Force rests in the hands of his nephew that he is about to fail.
For many years, there was balance. And then I saw Ben.
Add on top of that, he has now come to the realization that the religion he is teaching is deeply flawed. Call me crazy, but I think that might change a person. Now, was this the Luke I was expecting to see or wanted to see? No, but it shows the layers that live within a hero, a legend. An argument I do actually agree with is that not enough was shown to convince audience members that Luke would go from this to this. Enough is shown so people like me can defend it, but, you know, just tell the audience a little bit more, spell it out. Now, why do I personally like this character choice? It's really simple, and this is just my personal opinion, take it as you will. Showing the personal struggles of a legend is interesting. Seeing Luke hit rock bottom then rise to the occasion to save the resistance and be a symbol of hope for the galaxy is a character arc I love for an older, beaten by reality Luke Skywalker. And we get one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars that not only ties into his character development, but also the theme of the movie.
We are what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters.
God, what a beautiful scene. And Luke coming to the realization that the Jedi Order was deeply flawed does not only address a major criticism with the prequels in a sentence, but also is a way to tackle the idea of questioning authority you support, whether that's a political party, religion, or person. This is a message that really resonates with me, and I'm very happy it's in a Star Wars film. Now let's talk about
But weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure most of all.
the themes. There are two main themes of this film, the one I briefly mentioned and just used a clip of, that being failure is the greatest teacher, and in my opinion, the second major theme of this movie is that of a moral middle ground. Of course, this is displayed in Ben and Rey's relationship and personal journeys, but is also prominent in the very underrated character of DJ. But first, let's look at
The greatest teacher, failure is.
this theme ties into Luke's arc. Luke accepts his failures, learns from his mistakes, and becomes a beacon of hope. Got it? Cool. Beautiful. As much as I would love to go a pretentious video essayist on you and explain how this theme relates to the birth of Christ, I'm gonna hit you with something you probably weren't expecting. I enjoy this aspect of the movie. I know, crazy. But really, this theme is very personal and grounded in reality, like all good themes should be. It's very applicable to real life, and the way each character grows from failure in the movie is something I really enjoy watching. Now let's talk about
It's all a machine, partner. Live free, don't join.
Moral middle grounds. Ben's famous quote in this movie being "let the past die, kill it if you have to," is a quote that many use against this film as a way to show how the SJWs in charge trying to kill what came before. Defenders of this movie will go as far to say no, this is not what the movie is about because the villain said it. I obviously disagree with the first one and even disagree with the second. Killing the past, or a nicer way of saying it, reflecting on the past and evolving, is a major part of this movie. This very much relates to the theme of a moral middle ground. In Star Wars, morality has always been pretty black and white. These are the good guys, these are the bad guys, these are the really bad guys. This movie, the hero and villain actually attempt to meet in the middle, like for real. Villains reaching out to the hero is not a new concept, but let's be honest, they were never gonna go anywhere. In previous examples and movies, these moments were still rooted in evil intentions. Throughout this entire movie, both Ben and Rey see the flaws with both sides and just need someone to support them, and they are willing to meet in the middle until, you know, Ben goes too far because he's trying to be an evil boy. The idea of a gray Jedi and blatant problems on both sides is something that is frequently discussed in the Star Wars fandom, so to see these themes and ideas meditated in the movie is really cool. And now we get into DJ, and the D and the J literally stand for don't join. Very subtle, I know. As I talked about with Rey and Ben, when it comes to morality in Star Wars, it's usually pretty black and white. But something that we never think about, or I've never thought about, is the people who profit on war, just like in real life. And to reiterate once again, in a saga where morality is usually very black and white, having a character who's a nonpartisan through and through is new and interesting. Having this theme in the film at all is great, but having a character embody this idea and talk about how for some, the war part in Star Wars is simply a machine is something I love.
Take it easy, Big F. If they blow you up today, you blow them up tomorrow. It's just business.
Approaching the end of this video, to sum it all up, The Last Jedi is a flawed movie that has a very special place in my heart. From its bold direction and story choices, to the cinematography, to the character work and themes, The Last Jedi is one of my favorite Star Wars movies and one of my favorite movies of all time. Story choices such as Luke's character and Rey's parent reveal initially did not work for me, but given time to think about it, I now thoroughly appreciate these decisions. Especially after seeing Episode 9. Literally every time I think about Rise of Skywalker, I appreciate The Last Jedi more. But regardless, hopefully after watching this you can now understand where I'm coming from. And hopefully now you have a good enough answer about why I love The Last Jedi.